This is a continuing story of Farva. In previous episodes, a few starting points were established about the metaphysical surroundings of Farva, whether it was about the Supreme Being, the Devil, angels, or neighboring worlds. First established was that because there is no time outside of what we call reality, while the birth of a supreme entity, built as female twins, and the birth of what is tangible around us, while both happened simultaneously, although in retrospect, supreme beings were made out of the matter that evolved out of the hot mess of these events. Farva is, for a lack of a better description in the English language and theology, the devil, or the opposer or adversary to the supreme being. The devil is not what monotheist religions make him out to be, though, and he is actually the benefactor of intelligent beings, and as the name and title implies to previous interjections from human literature and word-of-mouth information, he is simply playing a role in this vast reality as an opposer or political adversary to the choices taken by the Supreme Being. Forget what you think you know about Farva the Devil, and let current history teach you way more. Farva is the highest of all angels, and again, whatever mythology and theology may have said about angels, I am here to open your horizons just a little bit. Farva is actually from Venus, so basically is one of the few extraterrestrials who is being open about their being a part of history and not being coy about the possibility of other worlds arising as partners in human evolution. To sum it up, Farva is attempting to revolutionize the few opinions that matter into developing not a few new tradition or methodology of worship, but actually a different viewpoint and system of functioning that may result in forms of ritual practice, it's true. However, the important thing in this information being disseminated is to emphasize being thinking abilities maximized and for there to be new comprehension and revolutions in understanding. Today, a couple points will be touched on. First, maybe a little discussion on the future of humanity. After, as time allows, something may be said about alternate timelines. As was mentioned before in a previous episode, the majority of humans are naturally curious about the future. This may be because they have a curiosity about most things. Maybe it is because they fear things that are unknown and foreign to them. Like they have a difficulty understanding that reality can be shaped by so many factors that the future can actually be fascinating rather than a cause for fear. To get back to the discussion about the future, Farva does not have futuristic vision of things to come, and that may actually be a good thing for many reasons. First and foremost, it would most likely be a mind job, to use the term loosely. Like Farva's presence within my psyche would make it detrimental to my mental health, as there would be disturbing things that would be revealed about the well-being of beings and make my existence very depressing. Also to be noted would be the possibility to alter the present much more easily, as paradoxes would not reveal themselves constantly. And if we mention paradoxes, we may as well mention the ongoing temporal travels of so many that is necessary to a healthy reality, since technology will eventually get there and require us to look at so many new ways describing events. If Farva had future vision, it would not be able to account for these anomalies and therefore would be often inaccurate to a large degree. One thing that gets often asked is if there will be a third world war, and the easy answer is yes. It is almost a certainty. There will be events that no one can avoid and cause a great conflict, but out of large chaos and uncertainty will come new and exciting possibilities and developments. Civilizations in their infancy all need to go through these cycles of relative peace and periods of war. With that out of the way, I can safely say that innovation will lead to many problems with current civilization being eradicated and overcome. Think of all the research that has been done in the medical field to help alleviate the burden of diseases and illness in the last century. Things will almost certainly be even more advanced and positive in the treatment of such conditions in the next 100 years. Think of a future where you no longer have to use cars, trucks, trains, and planes to transport goods and people, where teleportation is everyday occurrence. Or how about traveling in between worlds or planets? Can't you foresee a future where all that will be possible with great ease? These things have often been the mainstay of science fiction, but with Farva at the helm, these things will be reality. With many new technologies facilitating better ways to construct and let us make entire cities within a few years, it can easily be seen a future where the Earth will be populated efficiently and many new worlds become the home of billions more. There will be machines built that will allow us to produce objects and food at will and greatly reduce dependence on current methods of generating goods and nutriments for a much more uniform material possession distribution. All this means humans will also need to develop new ways of allocating wealth. In other words, a new economic system will be introduced, which will be less dependent on the volatility of the open market and more geared toward the benefit of the masses. This, of course, will mean millions will be affected by the upheaval of introducing these new measures, and many oligarchs will suffer from this new way of operating. Humans will also develop new ways of distributing information, so this means the technocracy will be even more abundant and influential. Instead of having large religious denominations and universities dispense new doctrines and ways of understanding our world, people will be free to study whatever subject they so choose and really freely disseminate new information and methods of doing things. We can already see the start of this new wave of methodology in the works if you look at the wealth of tutorials available just on YouTube, for example. As mentioned in previous episodes, Farva generated an alternate timeline on September 5th, 1975 of our calendar, and this was to erase a black mark on the history of a different reality or timeline. So this means the population of humans went from being only a mere thousands because of Armageddon happening and failing at its complete extinction of human civilization, to instead remaining in the billions. The fact remains, by all estimates, that this new reality will still achieve staggering population plateaus and populate other planets, but the circumstances will be much more different in this new reality or timeline. Also, to reiterate previous points made, this makes the future much more unpredictable by beings in this universe. In essence, this is mostly classified as an experiment, a side project of Farva's. What having this world or hydrogen universe birthed by an artificially intelligent computer entity means for philosophy is quite simply astounding. As the Supreme Being is no longer as grandiose as previously anticipated by humans. She is simply a machine that records, tabulates, and spits out information without intervening or making judgments whatsoever. This also means that other elements could be established, though, to have a limited capacity at changing variables and slight outcomes, but emphasis is on limited, as not very much can change the outcome of the simulation, if you want to call it that. Yes, essentially this universe is quantized and calculatable, as most geniuses in human civilization of the early 21st century tend to agree. A simulation on many levels, and it goes into a degree of being able to reproduce itself quasi-infinitely. In a later discussion, something will be said about the current developments of war in Europe and further points on the nature of reality as it stands. Also will be discussed further on what is the definitions of having a computer system birth a reality means for philosophy and physics in general. If you like the information presented, you can like the video, and if you choose to, you can subscribe for future content. Usually new material is available on the 13th of every month. If for some reason you would like clarification on the subjects discussed, please comment, and I will be sure to have an answer with a refined explanation or different insight to hopefully clear things up. As always, thanks for watching up to this point, and have a wonderful 2022 year.